Okie dokie. So, sitting comfortably, I'll begin. Alrighty, so just check that you've got a nice straight back. As with everything, our posture is important. And we're going to start by rubbing our hands together. And what I'm going to do today is we're going to do a little self-massage on our head, and then we're going to work into some acupressure points on the body, on the face, not the body, on the face. Okay, so we're just warming our hands. If you've got glasses on, you'll need to take them off for a sec, because with our nice warm hands, we're going to put the heel of the hand into the eye socket like this. Keep your elbows lifted so that we've got our nice straight back. We're not trying to push our eyeballs out here. We're just putting nice gentle pressure from the heel of the hands into the eyes. And if you don't have any contraindications, which I don't think you do as far as I know, but that would be something like a detached retina or some kind of eye issue that you know is a contraindication. If you're all good, what you're going to do now is gently look upwards.
Find a rain.
Gently look upwards. And then look down. And just switch between the two, looking up for a moment and then looking down. Gentle pressure, not forceful, just so that you can feel that you've got something resting on your eyes, but you're not pushing your eyes to the back of your eye sockets. Now look to the right and back to center, and to the left and back to center. And now just gently bring your eyes back to center and feel that soft warmth of your hands just pressing into the shape of your eye sockets. Okay, beautiful. So from there, bring your fingers down, and your fingers are just going to come onto your forehead like this. And you'll notice I've let my hair down. So if you've got your hair tied up, just let it down. We're going to get some lift any minute now. So with your fingers, you can see I've just spread them around the face here. I'm going to push, and it's lifting the skin. It's sort of quite a strong push because you want to feel as if you're moving the skin on your scalp, and you're going to slowly, with the fingers that look like this, push through your scalp and follow your head. So that's going to go along and round, and you'll find a natural place where your fingers just move away. Follow round and back, maybe as far as the neck. And I'm also coming down to my temple here and going in the sides. And you can also find the hairline at the bottom here and go up. So I've done 3 directions there. From the front, curving round the shape of the head and down. From the temples, pushing towards the back. And from the nape of the neck up as far as feels comfortable. I don't go all the way to the front, but just up to, my fingers are just at the back here. So you can afford to use a fair bit of pressure here because you're trying to loosen the skin on your scalp. It's a strange thing, but we can carry a lot of tension in the flesh on the skull. And it doesn't seem to move. So we're just trying to make it a little freer, a little more relaxed. At the root of every hair follicle, there's a muscle. So you can imagine that if you can hold tension in other muscles in your body, you can hold tension there too. So we're just following in different directions. So now I'm going to take my fingers, I'll do it on the top of my head so you can see. I'm going to come into different parts of my head and I'm just going to do little massages like this, little circles. So I'm doing this. And I'm going to follow those same directions. So I'm going to move from my hairline back and follow the shape of my head. So I'm doing little circles all the way round. So here and down. And then you can go from the temples and do little circles all the way back to the back of your head. And then from the base and circle upwards. And if you find a spot that feels like, oof, you've hit the spot and you need to spend a little bit more time there, then feel free. And you don't have to go in the particular order that we just did. Just make beautiful circles. If you're getting more with the first action, just running the hands through, then you can go back to that. So what we're doing here is we're bringing blood into the scalp and we're bringing it into the surface where the roots of the hair are. So we're supplying the roots of the hair with fresh blood. So you can imagine this is going to feed the roots of the hair. Okay, so from there, a slightly stranger technique, it's surprisingly good. We're going to run the fingers, so let's start at the front again. Run the fingers through until your hands are flat on your head. So I'm going to do it here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm running the fingers through and you'll have, you know, hair between your fingers like this. Keep very close to your scalp. So you've run your fingers through and then close your fingers like that. So you're going to get a handful of hair. Okay, you see I've got a handful of hair here. Now, if you've got your fingers quite close to your scalp and you're at the base here, when you now lift, you're just shifting your scalp. You're not pulling your hair out, just shifting your scalp. And these are called scalp tugs, strangely enough. Release and then find another handhold. So if you're, I'm just going to demonstrate here. So I was right down here at the base, okay, right down, hands flat on my head, and then gently close my fingers around some hair. If you take it up and you're in the length of your hair and you start pulling, that's when it gets painful and you will start actually pulling your hair out. And we don't want that. That's the opposite to what we want. So keep your hands close. Your fingers, my fingers are still touching the scalp. Excuse me. And you can see here, I've got some movement. This isn't moving up the length of the hair. It's me pulling at the root and tugging, then changing and finding another place. Now be gentle. I'm going to just unmute you so that if any of you are having difficulty, I can help. How are we doing? Are we all good?
Yeah, got this one.
Yeah. Does it feel quite nice? I quite like the scalp touch because it really feels like warming up the scalp. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the reason I like to start with this, if you have time, it's always nice to start with this because your face is only one part of this whole head structure. So if you do a lot of work on here, you're neglecting all round the back. You don't just exercise the muscles at the front of your leg, you're doing it at the back and the sides and everywhere. Okay, so it's nice to get the blood moving in the whole of this area to get the maximum benefit. Okay, any questions so far?
No.
Good. It should feel quite relaxing already, what we've just done. It should feel like there's a nice amount of blood coming. So I'm just going to mute us again.
Feels lovely.
Yeah. It should feel pleasant. And it's something you can do anytime, you know, while you're watching the telly or whatever. All righty. So we're now going to do a little friction movement. So it's going to look like this, as if you're just doing that. Okay. This. And we're going to, it's kind of a head massage technique, and we're going to go along the center and down, and then slightly further out and down, and we're going to follow round the head in that direction. So I'll just show you this way. We're going to come from the center right at the top, we're going to come along there and down, and then move out slightly and follow that line of the head. And we're going to keep following the line of the head until we run out of head, until we're down here. Okay, so it's going to look like this. So we do a little at the front, lift up, move back, move back, move back. So we're following all the way around the head, making these little. So we're all going to have either a really good hair day or a really bad hair day after this. Okay, so it's quite brisk, and there's some kind of flesh moving like this on your head. And come down again. So just remember, we're following the line of the head because we've got meridians, nadis, energy channels, that there's lots of them on the head, and they tend to follow from the front to the back, and then when they get to the shoulders they go off in their directions. So maybe that's why it was very good to brush your hair 100 times because you did your grandmother ever tell you that? Because that in itself would massage all these points. Okay, so you might have got now to all of those points, and we're going to do this now. On the head, we're going to tap our fingers like raindrops. Now, if that doesn't feel great, you can also just tap your still fingers. Sometimes the coordination feels a little weird, but you can just tap your fingers like this. And let's run in those lines once again. Some people don't care for this. It's a little disturbing. If it feels disturbing and you're not keen on it, go back to the gentle massage of the meridians in that way. So we're just tapping along the meridians and down. It doesn't matter if you don't know where they are, just keep following the shape of your head and the curves around. Okay. And then because I like it so much, I like to go back to scalp tugs just to finish. If you're not keen on scalp tugs, just massage with your fingers and finish off like that. Just massage in those directions. Do you remember where we were pushing the flesh? Okay. How are we feeling? Relaxed?
Very good.
Okay, let's move on. So the next thing we're going to do is find the acupressure points in our face. And I'll do it quite slowly so you can all see what I'm doing. So right along your hairline here, you're going to use either your fingertip like this. The middle fingers tend to be the stronger of the fingers. You could use your first finger. So either of those fingers. As you get used to this, if you're really enjoying it and you want to increase the pressure, then you can bend a finger and use your knuckle like this. So it's entirely up to you. So I'm going to start with my middle fingers. And if you imagine the whole length of your forehead there, take your hand from your eye and go up to your hairline and just press around there for a moment. And there might be, you might feel that there's an obvious place where you want to put your fingers. Find that place and press down and then lift up. Press and lift. So it's not so hard, the press, that your head is moving. It's just enough that you are pressing down. So it's kind of like press, lift. And we're just encouraging some blood into that place. And you might start to see, if you do this in a mirror, that you start to get a little flush of red. Okay. And then from there, you can probably see I've just got some red coming, 2 red dots just here. So from that place, you're going to do small inward circles. Now this is where, if you find that this just feels a bit draggy, this is where you'll need to pause for a moment and just put some cream or serum or oil on your face if you feel like you're dragging the skin. Okay, so we've got small inward circles here, and we're doing this for about a minute. So the whole thing will take about 15 minutes because we've got 16 points here. Okay, so now we're going to move down to the middle of the forehead. So if you just run your fingers along your forehead, you might feel that there's a slight dip somewhere towards the middle. I'm going to come straight down from there, and you can tap for a sec or two. And then once again, we're going to do inward circles. All righty. Now what you might find is, as you're doing this, sometimes it feels slightly tender and you think, that's okay. If it feels slightly tender, don't worry. But don't let it feel sore. Slightly tender is one thing, sore is something completely different. Okay. So we're going to go down into a place now. I say that because this place can feel tender. So if you feel down again, this is the eyebrow crest. It's the top of the orbital bone here. So just usually it's just where your eyebrows start and just below. We're kind of pushing up into the orbital bone. And just hold your fingers there for a moment. And there is a kind of a little gnawing sensation. And I like to use my thumbs for this one, like this. So I'm pressing on and pushing up slightly. Can you feel that? There's a slight tenderness there, a little like it's going through your skull a little. Okay, take your fingers off and press into it again. Now, the next bit, if you can do circles, you're going to do inward circles there. You could also, if that doesn't feel great for whatever reason, you can just keep pressing in and up against the eyebrow. I'm exaggerating it slightly here, but you get that sense that just you could put a little pressure and then not so much. Or you can do inward circles again. So just kind of feel for your sweet spot, because this is usually a place that if it's too tender altogether, if you can see what I'm doing there, I'm going to pinch that part and release. That would also work. Once you get used to this feeling, sometimes it's actually one of those things that feels quite good. Okay, so let's move along now, and we're going to go along the orbital bone again to about the midpoint of the eyebrow, and that kind of corresponds, it's just up from the eyeball there. Press on it. Press, press, press. Yeah, okie dokie. And inward circle again. So this is also a little spot that feels tender. It's also a spot where you can feel there's a little, it almost feels like there's a depression in there. The inward circles are too much, just lift and press like that. And sometimes when you first do this, the lift and press feels better than circling. So far we've done these points and we've done inward circles. We're on point number 4 now. Okay, so now, is everyone good? I think some of you are unmuted and some of you aren't. But unmute if you need to speak to me. So now from the center point here, we're going to move to, it all depends on your eyebrows, but if you imagine the outer part of your eye socket here, just about there. So I've followed along my eyebrow, and you can feel that you're following along your orbital bone, and then just at the outside, just up slightly, there's another little depression, but you're just kind of on the top rim of your orbital bone. Again, you can start by pressing and then massage. Tiny circles. They're not great big things, they're just little circles there. Remember, if it doesn't feel great, go back to the pressing, because you're still stimulating that same point. So we're doing outward circles now. Before, the first few were inward circles. Now we're doing outward circles. You might close your eyes if that feels more comfortable. Okay, beautiful. So we're going to move now to the corresponding place at the bottom there. So we were here, and we're now coming down. So we're in the orbital bone area still. We were on the top part of the orbital bone. Now we're on the underneath part. And find it. You can tell you're kind of not on the hardest part of the bone, and quite often it's as if you just found a little finger place. When you feel like you found it, you could just tap like this, little circles. Outward circles. Just going to check on you all. Don't forget to keep breathing. That's it, beautiful. Okay, so if you see where my glasses are here, imagine we're coming just at the base there. So we're still on the orbital bone, but just not right in it, because that would be pressing against the eyes. But we're just, you can feel the orbital bone, we're just below the crest of it there. And you'll feel there's a little finger place again. Keep the fingers on it and then just circle. So they're tiny circles, and again, outward circles. Just about, and again, it kind of lines up with the eye. So you don't want great big draggy things that are moving the whole of your face. Just press down and then circle that part that you press down. So you press down and just keep circling rather than trying to move a lot of the flesh. So we're quite up close to the orbital bone here. Okay, so now from there we're coming down, and you'll kind of feel from the nostrils out, from the eyes down and the nostrils out. You'll find a place where you can probably sense that you're at your cheekbone. This feels like it's at the base of my cheekbone, and it's kind of in line with your eyes and out from your nostrils. So find that place. And then when you found it, press. So it's a kind of an up press and those little circles again. There's a slight tenderness there. That's the place. So if you're someone that's got long fingernails, then you can feel, especially here, you could do to use your knuckles. Imagine you don't want fingernail marks distracting you. Okay. So we're going to use one finger now. First finger or middle finger or even a knuckle would do. And just at the crest of your lip, we're going to use one finger, so it'd come down through the nose to the crest of the lip, and just above the crest of the lip in the middle there, we're going to press down and release. And then this is going to be clockwise. Remember, you can always press like this, or press and release to stimulate that area. Okay, so now back to 2 fingers again. And you can see I don't know if you can see actually, but I just caused a little redness there. So there should be little red marks on your face. So we're going to follow around to the outside of the mouth. Okay. Outer top lip. So it's a bit like the eyebrow. We weren't kind of on the lip, just a little away. And you can almost feel you've got a finger hold there. And then we're doing little outward circles. We've usually got a little bit more face to play, a bit more flesh to play with here. How's your breathing going? Make sure that you're breathing. You might have developed a little bit of tension in your shoulders, so relax those and make sure that you're kind of sitting upright still. Okay, so we're going to take 1 finger again, and you know how we were here. We're now going to come down to that midpoint here. So I can feel I'm back on bone. You weren't on bone here. You might have felt your teeth, if anything, but not so much bone. But we're coming back to bone here. Okay, so we're going to do 1 finger clockwise. Find it, and then just press down. So from here, we're going to travel back to about the hinge of the jaw. So if you can see my ear there, it's just in front of that. You might need to feel for it. It's kind of just on the jaw hinge. And from there, we're going to make circles that go back towards the hairline. So I've kind of got my cheekbone here and my jaw here, and it's just between those 2 points. You're not up on the cheekbone, you're not down here, you're just in that midpoint. And this is especially good if you're someone that kind of clamps your jaw when you're asleep. It can also be a point where if you press too hard, it can feel like you're creating tension there. So just temper how much you press and how little you press. And you might even go back to that. Okay, so from here, do you remember we did up here? We're now going to do the corresponding place down here. So it's kind of the corners of your mouth and down a smidge. And then just... And we're nearly done. We've only got about 3 more points now. So again, we're kind of on teeth here because this whole area isn't bone. So it can feel a little different. Also much more flesh to move. Okay, we're good so far. So this next bit is a little like fun. We're going to get the back of our hands and we're going to come up the chin like this. So lift your chin slightly and then just go a little faster. So you're getting some, it feels like you're slapping your face and you're getting some blood in this area. So it's coming up like that. Okay. So now that brings us to just down the windpipe here. Just here. And we're not going to make circles, we're just going to tap. So I've come down the windpipe. I'm not as far as the collarbones. I'm not up there. I'm kind of in the middle there. And I'm just going to tap. You could use different fingers if you want to. It's a weird feeling. Okay. If you've got a sensitive throat, it might not be something that feels too great. So you could go back to the chin slapping. All righty, so the next spot is very easy to find. It's probably the easiest one to find because we're coming down and feeling this notch just between, there's a V shape just here. And we're just going to make small circles with one finger. Just on that. Okie dokie. So I'm going to give you just a couple of extra points. That's the face done, but we're just going to finish it off with a couple of extra points. And we're going to take a finger and thumb like this, and we're going to find that webbing just between the other finger and thumb and go in a bit. So there's the webbing, and I'm just going to feel there's a kind of a natural place there, and just press and pinch and circle in there. Oof, and that's one of those places where I can feel that.
Tender.
Yeah, it is. It's tender. Do that for up to a minute. And again, if you've got long nails, you might make a nasty nail thing there. You might want to change fingers or just do that. So let's try it the other side. Pinch and then keep them there. There's one underneath and one on top, and I'm just circling round. And you know you're in the right place if you've got a slight tenderness there. Don't let it cause any tension in your face that's all nicely relaxed now. You're all pink and perfect now. Okay, so the last one, I'm going to find, you can do this over your clothes, I'm just showing you. Find your elbow crease and just, I don't know if you can see there, I can feel a soft fleshy part just between my elbow crease and my elbow bone, just about there. And I'm going to press into it with my thumb and make little circles. Try and relax your shoulder. Again, you know you've hit the spot if there's a slight tenderness, so be gentle. Don't be mean, mean, mean. Let's do the same on the other arm. So I'm going to do this one over my clothing. You can just feel for it. Actually, I'll just remind you in case. So the elbow crease and the elbow just about there. Feel around for it, and like I say, it's generally the bit that feels a little tender. We've hit the spot. And then just make little circles there. So these points after the notch on your collarbone, these are kind of optional, the ones on the hands and the ones on the elbow. And then we're done. So just gently rub there and then take your hands onto your face and just spread your fingers so that you can feel that warmth. If you want to just start gently, you can stay there a bit longer and then just gently start smoothing your hands where you've been. Okie dokie, how are we feeling?
Very sleepy.
I'm feeling very sleepy too.
I do this at night. Oh.
It's really good actually to do as your nighttime routine. It's ideal to do it first thing in the morning, but I'll put this in the I'll put the recording in the welcome section of the membership, and you can always find it again and do it.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Had a nice
Thank you. That's lovely. Thank you.
That was really nice, Jocelyn.
Okay.
Very nice.
So see if you can practice that a few times, and next session we'll do something a little different to add to your
Thank you.
repertoire.
Thank you, Jocelyn.
Thank you.
Would it
Thank
be
you.
helpful if you had a list of the points?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, that'd be great because
Yeah, it would be superb.
Okay, I'll put that in the wellbeing section as well. And if I can't find it, I'll send you an email. Okie doke, ladies.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thanks.
There.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you Wednesday. Bye. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.
Monday morning. Thank you.